Hey there, explorers. You've been trying to learn English, but feel like you re-walking through a maze without a map? Maybe you've memorized some grammar rules and vocabulary lists, but when it comes to actually speaking, you freeze up. I've been exactly where you are, and I want to share something important with you. In today's video, I'll reveal the practical strategies that transformed me from a nervous beginner to a confident English speaker. Whether you're just starting out or looking to level up your skills, English Podcast 2.0 is all about making English accessible and useful in real-life situations. So stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll discover that mastering English can be both straightforward and enjoyable. And if you find these tips helpful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our community of language explorers. Hi everyone, I'm Lily from the English Podcast 2.0L, and today I want to take you along on my English learning adventure. English wasn't always easy for me. In fact, I struggled tremendously when I first started. But through trial and error, I discovered some practical approaches that made a world of difference. And I'm confident they'll help you too, no matter where you are in your learning journey. Let me take you back to when I first decided to learn English. I felt completely lost. There seemed to be endless vocabulary to memorize, complicated grammar rules to understand, and pronunciation that made no sense to me. I remember feeling completely overwhelmed, wondering if I'd ever make progress. Then I had a breakthrough moment. I realized I was approaching it all wrong. Learning English isn't about trying to swallow the entire ocean at once. It's about taking small, manageable sips. It's like building a house. You need a strong foundation before you can put up the walls and roof. So I started with just the basics, the everyday words and phrases I would actually use. Hello, thank you, how are you, and goodbye. I carried a small pocket notebook everywhere and would jot down new words whenever I encountered them, reviewing them during my free moments. Speaking was terrifying at first. My heart would race every time I tried to form an English sentence around others. I was paralyzed by the fear of making mistakes. Every error was actually a stepping stone toward fluency. Instead of getting discouraged, I started seeing each mistake as a lesson. It's an opportunity to improve, and gradually speaking became less scary. One strategy that dramatically improved my skills was immersing myself in English. I didn't worry about understanding every single word. That's not necessary, especially at the beginning. I just made sure to expose myself to English regularly through music, TV shows, and podcasts. For instance, during my daily commute to work here in Barcelona, I would listen to a podcast from New York. At first, I caught maybe 20% of what was said, but over time, my comprehension improved without me even trying too hard. Want to know what made learning truly enjoyable? Finding English content I was already passionate about? For me, it was cooking shows. I started watching them with subtitles in my native language. Then I switched to English subtitles. Finally, I challenged myself to watch without any subtitles at all. Was it difficult? Absolutely. But because I loved cooking, it never felt like studying. It felt like entertainment that was helping me learn. Pronunciation was another major hurdle. Sometimes I knew exactly what to say, but people couldn't understand me because of my accent. It was incredibly frustrating, but I found a solution. I started practicing out loud even when I was alone. I would repeat new words again and again until they felt natural. Online dictionaries with audio pronunciations became my best friends, especially for those tricky English words that sound nothing like they're spelled. Now let's talk about the grammar monster. I used to get so caught up in trying to form grammatically perfect sentences that I'd end up saying nothing at all. That's when I had an important realization. Perfect grammar isn't required for effective communication. Yes, grammar matters, but connection matters more. So I focused first on simply getting my point across. And as I became more comfortable, my grammar naturally improved. Reading became another powerful tool in my journey. I started with children's books. They're simple and usually have helpful illustrations. Then I moved to short stories and eventually to news articles online. Did I understand every word? Not at all. But I grasped the main ideas, and that's what counted. Reading helped me learn vocabulary and context, which made it much easier to remember later. If there's one secret to success in language learning, it's consistency. I committed to practicing at least 15 minutes every day, sometimes more, sometimes just barely making that goal, but always doing something, whether it was speaking, listening, reading, or writing. Daily practice made all the difference in the world. Speaking of writing, don't underestimate its power. I began by writing simple messages to friends who were patient with my English. Later, I started keeping a journal. Writing helped me organize my thoughts and think about language structures without the pressure of having to respond immediately like in conversation. A game changer for me was finding a language exchange partner online who would practice English for a while and then switch to helping them with my native language. Having someone to regularly practice with didn't just improve my language skills, it boosted my confidence tremendously. The more I practiced with my partner, the easier it became to use English in real-world situations. Here's a creative tip that worked wonders for me. I labeled everything in my apartment with sticky notes showing their English names. My door, window, refrigerator, and even coffee maker all had their English names proudly displayed. Every time I looked at these objects, I would say the words out loud. These small but frequent reminders helped cement vocabulary into my memory effortlessly. Another technique that accelerated my progress was training myself to think in English. Initially, I would think in my native language and then translate in my head, which was slow and cumbersome. So I started forcing myself to think directly in English, even if it was just simple thoughts like, I'm tired or I need to go shopping. The more I practiced thinking in English, the more natural it became, and soon the mental translation process began to fade away. Never be afraid to ask questions. At first, I was too embarrassed to ask when I didn't understand something. I worried people would think I wasn't smart enough, but I discovered that asking questions is actually the fastest route to improvement. Whether it was clarifying a word, asking someone to speak more slowly, or checking if I was using a phrase correctly, each question brought me closer to fluency. Let me share a funny learning moment. Once, while trying to tell a friend I was excited about a concert, I said I was very sighted instead of excited. My friend burst out laughing, and at first I felt so embarrassed, but then I laughed too. And now it's a running joke between us. Learning to laugh at your own mistakes makes the whole process less stressful and more enjoyable. Remember, patience is essential. Language learning isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. There were many days when I felt like I wasn't improving quickly enough, times when I wanted to give up entirely, but I reminded myself that learning English isn't a competition. Everyone progresses at their own pace, and that's perfectly okay. To sum it all up, my English learning journey has been challenging, but incredibly rewarding. I used a combination of listening, speaking, reading, writing, and consistent practice.